All right, let's talk about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Hey, how about the Panthers getting a big win here? And you can't help but feel just great for Bryce Young. Obviously, he's had a rough go of it in the NFL, but is able to pull off a victory here. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the performance itself. How good actually was he? Because it did start off pretty slow. I mean, he had a couple of plays that could have easily turned into interceptions. This one, for example, it's this over the middle route against zone coverage. However, when this play begins, you see that the corner is going to cross over with the receiver running over the middle, and this is a dangerous throw. I mean, Alontae Taylor, to be honest, probably should intercept this football. I don't really know why he plays it this way. You see how he really just goes for the bat and then kind of can't believe that that's what he did right after it, because it seemed like he had a real shot at intercepting it. I think he didn't realize how good of a chance he had at intercepting it until it was too late. So, hey, sometimes you get away with one for sure. This one, another example where the Panthers are currently down 6 points at the end of the half. It's a 2nd down and 7, and you see the concept on the screen. The Saints are in a cover 2 zone, and this route, on paper, could get past the corner's route, but underneath the safety, play that could work. Bryce Young takes the snap, and he's going to just make this throw right away, and because he makes the throw right away, the corner does not pass off this receiver, because it's zone coverage. He's watching Young. This is actually, once again, Alontae Taylor, who's reading this play, in position to get the interception. And you see, I mean, again, it would have been a bit of a tough catch, so that wasn't like an obvious interception play, but still could have easily resulted in an interception. But luckily for Bryce Young, Alontae Taylor, can't catch, and that helps things. Also, this play early on, you felt like they didn't maybe have a ton of confidence in Bryce Young at the beginning, because this is a 3rd down and 6 right here. I'm always fascinated in when you have a quarterback who has struggled, how much confidence do teams put in the quarterback? You see here, they're going to actually run the football, and it's a bit of an awkward play and loses a couple of yards. Now, in fairness, it's possible they were thinking, hey, let's try and gain the 1st down here, but if we don't, we can at least gain 3 or 4 yards and then go for it on 4th. But then since they lost yards, they had to punt. That's possible, but still, you could argue this was not showing confidence in him early on. But heading over here, they did start to show confidence in him as the game progressed because, well, he earned it. And I'm talking about some of these plays as, hey, this could have been worse had it gone a little differently. There were also plays that could have been a lot better had it gone differently, including this one. Young has a receiver going from the offense's left to the offense's right on this one. It's David Moore running the route. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Young's going to take the snap. He runs this play action, and, the Saints corner, follows him over towards the top of the screen, but there's a bit of a window. Not a huge window. It's going to have to be a good throw to get a completion here. But this throw is perfectly on the money, and it's just dropped. I mean, that could have easily been a long touchdown. So, while maybe a couple of plays could have gone bad, there were also a couple of plays that could have gone really well that unfortunately the team let him down. This is one of them, and there's one that's kind of the obvious example of this. This play, which, late in the game, they need some points here. You feel like, how many opportunities are you going to get? The answer was 2 more opportunities after this. One of them they converted on. But this play, Xavier Legette running a route, one-on-one matchup on the outside. You see Bryce Young takes the snap. He's going to scramble towards the outside and throws off balance. That's not easy to do, right? But again, Bryce Young in college, what he was known for is how well he could throw off balance. Is there a window? Not really, but hey, let's throw it up. Because you have, your receiver can play the ball. The defensive back here can't. He has his back turned away from the quarterback. He has to simply play the receiver. You see, this is a dime right here, a beautiful throw, and all of a sudden the defensive back picks up the ball and starts running the other way, and we're all thinking, watching it live, like, okay, well, clearly that's not the call. He was, it was caught, and then probably the ball came out after he was down or something like that. But on the replay, you see how this ends up going very poorly. It was caught and then just ripped out, but ripped out before Xavier Legette was able to maintain possession long enough for it to be a catch. Ends up getting ruled a fumble right here. Hey, interceptions are a fluky stat. That's a great pass by Young that unfortunately just didn't work out. But I want to go over here because to me this is the best play that I saw from Bryce Young, and it's not the best play in terms of like how good of just strictly the play itself was. But in terms of what I've seen from Bryce Young early in his career to what I saw in this game, this is a play I just didn't see from Young early on in his career, where the play itself, watch what happens. Young takes the snap, you're going to see him really immediately is under pressure. The route I showed on the screen doesn't appear to be open right now. It is a one-on-one matchup, so there is that opportunity, but like still, I mean, do you even want to throw up a jump ball in a one-on-one matchup? It's Ja'Tavion Sanders, who was someone who a lot of people liked out of the draft, hasn't done a lot so far for the Panthers, but had a big day in this one. Bryce Young, again, for most of his career, is not making these throws. He's kind of saying, you know what, like, I don't want to take chances. I don't want to turn the ball over. To make a comparison, I remember, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua had this kind of thing going on where Fitzpatrick told Tua, like, at a certain point, you got to throw to guys, even if they're not Alabama open, because they're NFL open. And maybe you're seeing that something like that with Dalton and Young. Because, again, most of Young's career, he doesn't make this throw. Here he does just throw one up and lets his player make a catch because, yes, the corners are better in the NFL, but so are the receivers. And Ja'Tavion Sanders absolutely made a great play, but that's sometimes what you have to do is rely on your great players to make great plays, and Young wasn't doing that for most of his career. He did that today. Also, something like this, Young's always been very good at, which is his scrambling ability, even in the games that go poorly, even in the ugly film studies that I've given him throughout his career. Usually, the one positive is like, oh, well, he had a couple nice scrambles, and then I throw in a couple of those. Had some nice scrambles in this one as well. As you see, I mean, really, it was really just the one, to be honest. But in this play, you see him getting outside the pocket. There is a Saints player who, in theory, could run over and make a tackle. Young can't get too many yards. Except watch this move. Again, takes a big hit at the end, but at the same time, he's fighting for an NFL job, right? So he's got to, he's willing to take the extra hit than maybe he would have been on his first game, right? But, nice play there to make something happen for sure. And then there were a couple plays where, like, he just ran the offense well, which, something like this. It's a man coverage concept. Usually the more over-the-middle route can work better, but with these two routes kind of going in opposite directions, the one closest towards the sideline going more over the middle, the one closest to over the middle going more towards the sideline, you see how when Young takes the snap, the Saints are going to try and pull off a switch, but they're doing it in a bit of a clumsy fashion. So because of this, the player I've circled in yellow is open. When Bryce Young was at his best in Alabama, he was an elite game manager, and part of why it's been so disappointing in the NFL is because he hasn't been as good of a game manager. But you do have to wonder to some degree, is it possible that there hasn't been as much of a game to manage? Now, that's not all of it, of course, but maybe that's a part of it. Because here you see, he reads the play well, he does get the ball over there, safety comes in, but not in time to make a play, and they're able to pick up a conversion on a 3rd down and 5. Big play there, right? So we definitely saw things like this with Bryce Young. Especially in a situation like this, which this is a key spot, 3rd down and 10, down 5 points with 3 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. You're at the point where if you don't convert here, you might just go for it on 4th and 10, to be honest, because only 2 timeouts left. It's a 5-point game, so a field goal doesn't ice it for the Saints. So that's what you can consider. You have a receiver running a route over the middle. Young takes a snap, and he just times this really well. You see when he makes this throw, right as of now, Xavier Legette is as open as you could ask for. This time, no wonkiness. He does make the catch. They get the ball on the outside of field goal range, ultimately are able to get into the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown. Did not convert the 2-point attempt. Had to be a little better there, but we're still able to win the game, and the defense came up with a stop and beat the Saints. So, again, was it a great performance by Bryce Young? It was a solid performance. It was a solid performance, which we hadn't seen a lot of early on in his career, is what I thought. It wasn't a great performance, but he played pretty well. But on a personal note, again, how can you not just feel good for the guy, right? After all, listen, I know some people will say, he's a millionaire, who cares? But I don't know. I still feel like millionaires have feelings too, right? So how do you not feel good for the guy after how low he must have felt getting benched early on this season? So cool story. We'll see. We'll see how much it factors in later on. They play the Giants in Germany, so that's a game that I don't know could go either way. And then they play the Chiefs in their following game. That might be tough. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Bryce Young and the Panthers. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.